screwfix.ie. Championing the trade with a dedicated call centre.
This is News Talk.
Yep, just gone 7 o'clock. You're very welcome along to Wednesday night's Off the Ball. We've a busy show for you tonight. That's the default setting, it strikes me, to say at the top of any show, no matter what's going on, but it actually is true tonight. We've Tommy Bowe in studio for a very special Wednesday night rugby. He's Air Sport's new front of house presenter, so Tommy is going to be with us a little bit later on to discuss all things career and rugby for the season ahead, and some interesting questions as well to put them on the text machine, so that's coming a bit later on. John Maughan is the new Offaly football manager, so he too is here as well to talk Offaly philosophies as well, footballing philosophies. Mayo, of course, and short shorts, top of the agenda with John Maughan. That's coming your way, I think, from around about 7:30 this evening. Alan Brogan is going to preview the big game this weekend, Dublin-Tyrone. Jamie Jackson was the special one who asked Jose that question after their loss to Spurs on Monday night, so he's going to be along in the football show to discuss the future of Jose Mourinho at Manchester United. We're going to talk Bundesliga as well with Jonathan Harding, so that's all coming for you a little bit later on. Dan McDonald, good evening to you.
Evening, Adrian.
Richie.
Hey, Adrian.
How goes it?
Good, how are you?
I'm very well. 53106 if you want to get in touch with us over the next 3 hours. You can get us as well on all the usual streaming and all the usual social channels, so get in touch with us there. Get your comments in over the next little while, whether it's comments or abuse, or we're kind of open for business, Dan, really, whatever you're
having. I mean, abuse is good for business as well, you know.
Engagement, it's all pushing engagement, really, you know what I mean?
That's the word. Listen, you're hitting those buzzwords there. You've definitely been to a few PowerPoint presentations.
Love a good PowerPoint. So, yeah, there's been some sort of Declan Rice conversation happening over the last while, and I think we'd probably both be of the opinion that, you know, is there something else to kind of talk about at this stage? But it does keep sort of winding up a little bit. Manuel Pellegrini has weighed in today. Declan Rice is a big problem, says Manuel Pellegrini, his club manager at West Ham, of course, saying that he's going to have to give some consideration, obviously, to which way he goes, and a lot of stuff happening in the background as well in terms of, as tends to be the case with these things, rumours and counter-rumours and conjecture that sort of keeps all our wheels nice and greasy.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if we had loads of other Irish teenagers in the Premier League to speak about, in which case then this wouldn't really be that big of a talking point at all. But
it's kind of...
just so happens we've played 3 games this year, and there's this young lad who's been the best player in all of them.
That's the key, isn't it, really? It's like, we wouldn't give a toss if it was...
Oh yeah, exactly. Whoever it can be. I mean, you know, we have players sometimes at all underage levels who are unsure and on the fence, and you know this happens. It's not an unusual dilemma. It's just a dilemma that's sort of afflicting the highest profile player in terms of, I guess, coverage of the Irish team in the last since the Denmark loss, because he's the one that has offered hope where it seems there may be none.
So yeah, we're not just talking about Declan Rice before with the abuse. Starts, so much as we welcome it for engagement figure, starts coming in for the sake of it. As I said, there is that development today. Also some interesting comments from Brian Kerr, who was on TV3's European coverage last night.
I think something has changed dramatically since all those lovely statements he made and the games he played. Remember, he played a match, in the international match in Turkey. He came back and played the under-21 match during the week. I was at the game. He was the best player, and he celebrated with everyone at the end of the match.
His dad went out to Turkey with him. He said he was fully committed.
And has Martin has said that the jerseys are in a case at home, and all those things make me think something has changed dramatically. I don't believe it's the influence of the agents. I don't believe that Gareth Southgate, impressive and all as England were at the World Cup, that has changed him, because his statements are so certain.
So what is it then, Brian?
Well, I hope it wasn't something that happened when he was in with the team. That I hope that there wasn't some incident. I mean, Martin recently confirmed that there were altercations between players and one of the staff with Roy Keane. I hope there wasn't any incident or remarks made to Declan Rice that affected his view of the Irish setup and the Irish camp, because he did seem so happy within the environment.
Yeah, like the indication that there was some sort of an incident or thing said, or Declan Rice became involved in some sort of a situation that resulted in him ultimately saying, look, I'm sort of, that's not for me now. I'm out. I don't want to be sort of around the camp where this is going on, either directly to me or to others, because as Brian points out, Martin O'Neill has been out in the last couple of weeks to speak about incidents that Roy Keane had been involved with, Harry Arter and John Walters, and they'd been diffused, in his words, and altercations was the expression that he used.
He's driving in ever-decreasing circles with those comments as well as Brian.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Rich. Yeah. Like, the thing is, what I would say is that the altercations with Arthur and Walters, and I certainly, I have a reasonable knowledge of it, but I wouldn't say, there is versions of the event going around, but certainly the timing of it was a couple of days before the France match, the first match of it. So after those altercations, Declan Rice played against France, played against the USA,
so
and was excellent in both games. So, like, unless something happened at the end of, the load of crap speculation comment about England, I think that happened after the USA game in the Aviva Stadium, which was the last game of the international window, and he hasn't been in Irish camp since then. So, was he playing in that game with something in his mind? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say something with certainty because you don't know what's going on in the camp the whole time. But I don't agree with Brian from the perspective that you can dismiss the other stuff, the club, the agent pressure,
getting
the stuff
the head turned.
That's what happens, and I think, like, there is a slight danger that. There is a reasonably negative view towards the management team at the moment, and I completely understand why that is. And it dates back to, what's been a very frustrating World Cup playoff and a feeling of frustration probably around the style of play and so on. Yeah. But I think there is also maybe a bit of a wish here to also want to lay this on them. That this must be it. I mean, this regime is creaking, and this has to be a factor in the whole thing. Whereas I think that gives Rice a bit of an excuse here, in the sense that, like, Rice has been involved in the Irish underage setup for 4 years. He's very close with Mark O'Toole, who was the guy from the FAI who recruited him. I've seen that close at hand after one of his under-21 games. Big hug, families together.
Mark O'Toole?
Mark O'Toole is the FAI's talent scout in London, who basically, and the UK, but primarily, I guess, the London area, who is excellent, very highly regarded in terms of. So Declan Rice was in an Irish camp for the first time, an under-15 game against the Czech Republic. It started maybe 2015, I think, and it was O'Toole. And Rice spoke in March about. O'Toole being a father figure and so on, and spoke about how the FAI had been very good to him. So I'm just not sure about the version of events that something, and maybe something did happen, but that something could be said that would suddenly undo 4 years, when in reality, Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane might only be there for another 2. Yeah. So, well, I mean, I just think that's given a bit of a pass.
Keane could be there, obviously, longer than that, is the thing that. Well, I think we all believe on some level that Keane is serving his time, whatever's going on. I mean, if he needs to serve his time, having carried out the duties he has as a manager, and at some point he is going to take it on. The only thing, look, and I suppose we're all sort of adding 2 + 2 here, and until Declan Rice himself comes out and says actually definitively this is the situation, whether he would do that or will do that or not, who the hell knows. But we're adding 2 and 2 and coming up with whatever numbers. The only thing is that he did obviously at a certain point come out, him and his family come out and say, I'm Irish, I'm going to play for Ireland, that's where I'm at. It just seems like an incredible level of commitment to, at some point, that even he's 19, accepted all that. Yeah. So it just seems like an extraordinary level of commitment to give to, at some point, then go, actually, I'm not sure about that anymore.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Again, I'm just thinking he left the Aviva Stadium after the USA game with a very firm line on where he stood. So to go along with the version of events that there was something happening in that camp that really upset him to the point where he didn't want to play anymore, then he put on a pretty amazing front, so. Or is there a claim that something has changed dramatically since he left Ireland camp on June? And I think what's changed dramatically since he left Ireland camp in June is he's got his club situation, we've got the comments from David Gold, and we've got England doing well in the World Cup. And I just don't think you can dismiss that. I'm not saying Brian is definitively wrong, but I'm saying that I just can't just subscribe to the theory that this could be the only thing that has happened, that something has happened in the camp. There's other factors at play here which you can't dismiss them.
We're going to at some point soon have to hear from Declan Rice.
But that's what we need.
You know, like it's just to bring some sort of definition to the discussion. So a few texts in. How does Brian Kerr's speculation around some mysterious incident help things other than to stoke the fires further, says Shane and Stamullen. Another text on Rice disloyalty. Guys, I'm a red-blooded woman, and despite being happily in a relationship for 5 years, my head gets turned every time I pass an attractive guy on the street. Not sure where this one's going. However, it does mean I jump on... It doesn't...
Careful.
Whoa.
Careful.
It doesn't mean I jump on that new fella just because he's a more attractive option. My own man is my man, and I owe him the loyalty that he's shown me. From Lisa, whose surname has been redacted. I mean, I do have the location here. I'm not sure I really...
No, go with it.
Everyone in Galway, right?
Anyone sitting in the car with a Lisa at the moment is going through it.
Particularly if you're in Galway. That analogy has been made a few times.
It has been made a lot this
on both
week.
sides.
It doesn't make any sense.
But it's completely flawed, really, because Joe was like the first love and all this. I mean, this is
doesn't make any sense.
They've had the stag. The wedding's coming up in a week's time. This is what's going on. This is like a soap opera jilting at the altar.
The difference is that it's like Damien Rice has
Declan.
Oh, here we go.
I made that mistake last week. Declan Rice met his first love at the age of sort of 15 or 16 and committed his entire lifetime to her, and you know,
didn't though.
But my point is this relationship thing is bollocks. It just doesn't make any sense.
I'm
That's
with
my
you.
point.
Yeah.
Can I simplify it that way?
Can we just get rid of this analogy? But don't try and go into it to explain why
you're
it's
absolutely 100%. I accept that as fact. Lots more texts and contacts coming in, so keep them coming in. We'll bring them to you over the next little bit. Whether they're relationships related or not, we'll take them all. Newsround brought to you this evening with Screwfix.ie, who are championing the trade with a choice of over 20,000 quality trade products. And Richie is going to kick us off with news of...
Declan Rice. West Ham manager Manuel Pellegrini says that Rice has a big problem, as you mentioned there. The versatile 19-year-old excluded from the Republic of Ireland squad this week as he weighs up his international future. Despite winning 3 Ireland caps, Rice can still switch allegiance to the country of his birth, England. And while Pellegrini admits it's hard to give Rice advice on the matter, he has been in constant contact with him about his upcoming decision. Gareth Southgate naming his squad tomorrow for their Nations League opener with Spain and the friendly with Switzerland. And it's thought that Rice possibly could feature in that.
No, you see, he can't. This is one of the misconceptions as well, that if Declan Rice decides to play for England, he has to go through a laborious clearance process. So he couldn't. The lower end of this could take 8 weeks. So he's not eligible to be named in England squad. And also a significant thing as well is because he's played for Ireland under-21s in this qualifying campaign, he's not able to play for England under-21 side until the next campaign starts next September.
So it's similar to the Michael Duffy situation.
Yeah, and Jack Grealish as well, who was the same. He couldn't play for the 21s for England for some time. So if Rice does decide to go this way, he basically can't play international football for a period of time unless England decide to bring him in the new year.
Yeah.
So this won't be done
Unless they've been working on this in back channels without our knowledge.
Because they need the FAI to release the forms.
Okay.
So the FAI can make it as slow as they want. And this is the thing with the FAI and IFA over the years, you know. So I mean, there's no sign of Rice in an Ireland squad or an England squad. This side.
The Ireland under-21s have an important enough game coming up some point soon.
They have a big double header in this window, and one of the theories would have been that would you just say that Rice wants to play with the 21s? You know, he wants to stick and see this campaign out because
easy fix.
When I spoke to O'Neill a couple of weeks ago, he was talking about letting him play against Wales, but then releasing him for the second 21s game, which is a home to Germany actually in Tala, the same night Ireland play a friendly in Poland. That's actually a big game. They're still in contention. And like Rice again, he loved that group of players. He was so big within it, but he's not playing for them either. So he's taking a break.
Unless he's decided, that would have been an easy fix.
Adrian Barry conspiracy theories are the best ones.
I'm not Irish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be the one stumbling block to it would have been a very obvious easy fix. Unless he had decided.
Let's go. And let's keep going with theories. He's also big friends with John Terry. John Terry is a mentor figure in Declan Rice's life.
Good Lord.
People might be aware of this, but he is.
Right.
So Instagram posts of like meeting up with his friend John Terry, because Declan Rice was a childhood Chelsea fan, was at the Chelsea Academy, and until he was
Terry wasn't West Ham.
No, Rice was at Chelsea until he was like 14, 15 or so, and then got released. And so Terry is a big figure in his life, someone who does actually speak to.
Well, that's a concern.
Yeah, well, on the basis on the basis of English or loyalty. What are you talking about here?
Solely on the basis of John Terry.
But yeah, so like there's other factors here, you know.
Right. Interesting.
Republic of Ireland striker Jonathan Walters appears to be on the move. He's set to join Championship side Ipswich Town on loan from Burnley. Walters previously spent 3.5 years at the Portman Road club, leaving for Stoke in 2010. An altercation with Roy Keane, then the Ipswich manager, led to Walters' original departure from the club.
I'm surprised to nobody in a good move.
No, yeah, exactly. Surprised that nobody is moving. Maybe back to Ipswich is a slight surprise, because I know like Walters lives around the Liverpool area, and I think, you know, quite settled there with sort of family and stuff. So going to Ipswich is a bit of an uproot, you know. But I mean, as Richie says, like, it's a loan move, and I think just some discussion it might only be till January or maybe end of season. That seems to be up for debate. But I think O'Neill hinted this week he needs to go on loan.
Yeah, he's not part of Burnley's plans.
And Ireland need him. I mean, you know, maybe if Sean Maguire and Scott Hogan were fit and playing, you might think you might start the campaign or the Nations League campaign with something different, but there's no real scope to do that now, because there's only two real out-and-out strikers in the squad, and they're Walters and Shane Long. He
seems keen from his social media posts to be back playing football as well.
Yeah, it's sort of thinly veiled frustration, I think.
One text in here from Kevin Limerick. Rice has his jerseys. He's fulfilled the family dream to see him in green. Now he's the chance to move on with no penalty and play for England. It's a win-win for him. So he gets to put the jersey in a frame and sort of, you know, move on with life.
Yeah.
He can be a modern day Alfredo Di Stefano.
Yeah, probably, I don't know, how soon could he come back here on holiday? That it would be an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in a rush to go to Enniscrone with the money he's on, though, to be fair.
No, well, you know.
no offence to the people of Enniscrone.
Don't knock Enniscrone.
Love it.
Spent many of the summer there.
Absolutely, same.
Cracking spot.
Yeah.
Battles Hotel, lovely spot. Back in the day.
I would have stayed in the. We were definitely not staying in a hotel. Richie.
Oh no, we weren't staying in a hotel either.
We were in
Cork
the,
knowledge is limited. So
Caravan Park. Is that what they're called?
Sligo, Dan.
Well, Declan Rice is Cork. It's Douglas.
We're just postulating that maybe
Enniscrone came out of nowhere.
I just wonder where you plucked it out of. I was like, what the hell? Yeah. Well, I've ruined that really. But yeah, I wonder, does Jack Grealish, like, you know, because he does still have family here. You know, is it acceptable time past now for Jack Grealish to like hop over to Enniscrone or whatever? Like, it's probably an issue.
I love the way Enniscrone has become like the
place to go.
That's a great part of the world.
The country. Like Declan Rice would probably blend in a way that Jack Grealish is a bit more stand out. Like, that hair is going to get you.
Rice's face has been everywhere now, though.
For the next little bit, but that'll die off and it'll become an everyman.
I don't know. Jack Grealish's hair at a youth disco would probably be, you know, blending in as much as anybody else's.
Hal Robson-Kanu.
Yeah, bad news for Nathan's John Hartson impression. Hal Robson-Kanu has announced his retirement from international football with Wales. He scored 5 goals in 44 appearances, one of those strikes, that brilliant one against Belgium in their 3-1 quarter-final win at Euro 2016. Wales, of course, play the Republic of Ireland and Denmark in the inaugural Nations League next month, and Paul Dummett's been recalled to the Wales squad for those games. And Ryan Giggs, the Wales manager, isn't seeing the new competition as mere glorified friendlies.
Of course, there's a little bit more riding on it. It's a new competition. It's a chance to qualify for a Euros. It's a bit of a derby. Obviously, you know the players. It's a bit different from playing other countries where you know the majority of the players that are going to be up against you. And obviously, we've got recent history against them being in the same group. So yeah, it is a little bit different.
Say what you said off air, go on.
No, he just looked as if he was on the jacks.
There you go.
For people who are watching the live stream.
Loads of you out there. 3 more Premier League sides facing Championship opposition in the second round of the EFL Cup tonight. Everton playing host to Rotherham. Marco Silva making 8 changes to his Everton side, with Kurt Zuma making a first start for the club. Newcastle go to Nottingham Forest with Rafa Benitez promising changes of his own to the side, among them Kieran Clark, who's starting at centre half. Although Jamal Lascelles again isn't involved, but Benitez insisting the defender is still injured. The skipper reported to have been involved in a training ground scuffle with Matt Ritchie, with Lascelles said to be unhappy with Benitez's plan for a 5-man defence against Chelsea at the weekend. But Rafa insists that all's rosy in the garden.
I was talking with him before the game because he came to support the team. After the game, obviously, when he was leaving, I saw him, and I was talking with him this morning maybe 3-4 times, because the partner is having a baby in a few days, so we don't know when. I'm asking him all the time.
Yeah, so everything okay?
Yeah, fine.
Elsewhere, Premier League high flyers Watford make the trip.
We have a hot take.
Well, I don't have a hot take. I mean, it's manager comes out and denies that something happened, and
breaking news.
Because I think there's I've seen a couple of the local newspaper journalists in Newcastle are going mad because they have these stories. They have these stories on these rows, and that the club are coming out denying them. But like Newcastle aren't a club, with a sort of a
reputation,
a fantastic sort of record for. Fair stuff. Altercations are very much in vogue now.
Weekly, sort of, But it's a bizarre thing to deny entirely, isn't it?
Well, he wasn't picked, and then there's various talks about they're claiming there was an injury.
Benitez stuff in the press conference, the whole play out of that is fantastic, because the journalist clearly knows what happened, and Rafa knows that the journalist knows what happened, and yet he's like, no, he went for a scan. It's like, oh well, how serious is the injury? When are you expecting him back? And he's like, oh well, the doctor know more about these things now than me, and sure, he's always complaining.
Why didn't he just come out and say?
This is the part of the charade sometimes. I'm not saying in this case, but like there will be other cases where you will have a manager or a player, particularly manager, sitting in front of you, like telling you there's an injury problem with some player. Yeah. And like everyone knows it's not the case.
Well, the last thing,
you just sort of nod and go, oh yeah, rather than sort of going on a rant about truth. It's just respect. It's part of the game.
Well, the only thing holding that club together is the glue of Rafa Benitez at the minute. So the last thing they want is for his sense of discipline over the side to be undermined. Yeah. And if that happens, then everything else could crumble around them. They could start sinking. The group stage for the Champions League completed tonight. PSV Eindhoven lead Bate Borisov 3-2 ahead of their second leg. PAOK Thessaloniki and Benfica are level ahead of their second leg, one each there, while Salzburg and Red Star Belgrade are scoreless. All of those games have 8 o'clock starts. The group stage draw being made tomorrow. Roscommon are looking to quell speculation linking Kevin McStay with the vacant Mayo manager's job. County PRO Hugh Lynn telling the Star that the Mayo native is Roscommon's manager and will remain so. McStay led Roscommon to the Connacht title last year and also guided them to a Super 8 berth this year, while Joe Quaid's no longer the manager of the Kildare Hurlers. The former Limerick keeper led the Lilywhites to this year's Christy Ring Cup, but will not be seeking a second year in charge. He's been linked with vacant positions at both Westmeath and Laois. And speaking of Westmeath, their forward Ray Connellan's set to return home ahead of the 2019 season. Fist pumps from Adrian Barry to my right. The Athlone clubman has not been offered a new contract by AFL club St Kilda. Their general manager of football, Simon Lithlin, says he gave everything during his 2 seasons in Australia. Connellan has thanked the club and added that his time in Melbourne has been the most amazing experience of his life.
Connellan.
What did I say?
Connellan. Anyway, good news.
Big talking point around Athlone.
Not great for him, obviously, but good news for Athlone as well. They're in club championship, Richie, as I know you're firmly on top of.
I was about to get to that, but go on.
My theory is that Declan Rice is switching to England because he's fed up of everyone here that keeps calling him Damien. Fact, says Denny.
Caustic case. Do you think like his initiation song for when he joined the squad was actually a Declan Rice number?
Well, he probably wouldn't even do that yet.
Yeah.
If he's
I think he did it. I can't remember what he said.
Oh, that's the ultimate
actually
insult.
Was, yeah.
Oh Christ, if he's done
if it had been football's coming home or something,
God save the Queen.
We should have known we were in a bit of bother here.
Number. God, that's awful stuff, isn't it? What's the muso in the room? Damien Rice.
Singer-songwriter stuff.
This is it. Maybe he heard about the Damien Rice mix-up and he started listening to the music on the way back. Just got melancholy.
It's melancholic. That's the word for it.
There's something about depressing lads in Kildare. I just can't put
so yeah, I mean, I'm firmly in that camp of that's twice on air I've called him Damien. So
it's a commentator. It's just.
I can only apologise to the nation.
Affliction. Yeah.
What else have you got for us, Richie? Last couple.
Donegal middleweight Jason Quigley feels he's on the verge of getting a shot at a world boxing title. The 27-year-old had hoped to face Ryota Murata in Vegas for the WBA belt, but the bout has fallen through during negotiations. Murata will now instead face the mandatory challenger Rob Brandt. Quigley, who has won all 14 of his fights as a pro, feels he's well placed to contend for multiple titles in his weight division. He described his disappointment at the falling through of his original plans on this morning's OTB AM.
To be honest, I had my suit and everything picked out for the press conference in Tokyo. That's it. Everything was going as, I was meant to for the world title over in Las Vegas, but we were meant to be doing the press conference in Tokyo. Flights and everything were booked. His side had the flights all booked to Tokyo, but things fell through, negotiations fell through, and it didn't happen. But, you know, at the end of the day, I look at it, everything happens for a reason, and it was great to be in that position to negotiate my first world title fight and be in that kind of an experience so early on now in my career. And it just goes to show you what level I'm at. You know, I'm at that level now to be fighting for a world title. It was coming a bit sooner than I expected in my career. I would ideally have loved another 3 or 4 fights, but now we're back to that plan, and as I said, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, there's certainly one spin on it, and you'd hope and assume that that world title shot does come around at some point or another. It's all about the little tongue slips this evening. Timmy
Crow 2.5 hours to go, Adrian.
Says if we had Declan Rice and Jack Grealish, we wouldn't be a bad old team. Just get 1 or 2 more players. I mean, as easy as that.
Yeah, maybe just produce a couple of our own players as well.
Not a bad idea, Dan.
Revolutionary thought.
Crazy thought.
Just, you know, you're off your face, come on.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Right, your absolute last chance to join us tomorrow night at Croke Park. It's our exclusive All-Ireland football final preview show. We've an embarrassment of riches on the guest front. Kieran McGinney, James Horn, Jim McGuinness, all going to be there. Aidan O'Shea will be there, Cora Staunton, Peter Canavan and the Dublin legend Keith Barr. Tickets are just about sold out. But there are a couple left, and we do mean a couple. Right now, I mean, not literally a couple, but not many. Right now, we're going to give you a chance to win a pair of VIP tickets. You'll get the best seats in the house. You're going to get a meet and greet with the guests and an off-the-ball goodie bag. To be with a chance of winning, just identify our mystery voice who's been listening to the show tonight and has been paying particular attention to the performance of one Dan McDonnell over the first 27 minutes of the show.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty solid, really.
We'll give that another lash.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty solid, really.
Oh, it took me a second, but I got there eventually. You wouldn't know the answer to that, Dan.
No, I wouldn't actually, no.
Would you not?
No, I was just trying to figure out. I was more listening to the content to see what the description of the performance was.
Give us another bash.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty solid, really.
I'd probably struggle with that.
Oof.
Oh, actually, I figured it out.
That's the noise of the penny.
I was trying to think of what sport will I not. Yeah, okay.
You're on it. He's on it. Text your name and your answer to 53106 for 30 cents. We're going to announce the winner later on in the show, or get onto offtheball.com/events right now and get those hot tickets before they are gone. So that's it from us for the minute. Richie, Dan, thanks a lot. You're going to be back with us a bit later on with much more. We have Tommy Bowe. We've John Maughan, I think, on the way. That's exactly where we're headed.
And Declan Rice.
He's after these.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Thanks to Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with a choice of over 20,000 quality trade products.